My husband and I own a stonemasonry business in Monmouth County, New Jersey. I also run and operate my own operations consultancy business. I married somebody from another country. The life that we are building for ourselves, we are traveling between Australia and the US minimum once a year, right? Which costs money when you're a family. We saved up 100,000 Australian to transition us to the US. I would say a majority of people that are, have heard about Bitcoin or whatever, right? Like, if I can't understand something as if you're talking to me like a toddler, I'm not in. I don't understand where it's sitting. I can't draw from it. If I can't do that easily, or if I have to get a massive penalty for that, can I do that in Bitcoin? What's the risk of leaving or taking? Who validated it that this digital currency is valid? This is an important conversation. So whether or not you believe it, it's an educational part of the internet that needs to be recognized.
Welcome to Sat Chats, the Bitcoin podcast where we chat about sats. Sats are the smallest part of a Bitcoin, the same way pennies are the smallest part of a dollar. With Sat Chats, we are building the world's biggest Bitcoin welcome center to serve as your gateway to generational wealth. So if you're brand new to Bitcoin, we want to chat about sats with you. Head to satchats.com to grab your slot in the studio today. I'm your host, Stuart Bitcoin Maxi, who wears prescription sunglasses to protect you and your loved ones from my Bitcoin laser eyes.
And I'm your co-host, Chris, founder and CEO of Ithaca Hummus. And resident Bitcoin smash buyer when my wife says it's okay. We're giving away 10 million sats. All you have to do is go to our YouTube channel, Sat Chats. Just subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's it. And we're on the way to number 99. Kristen, Stuart's wife.
Yes.
You're going to orange pill your wife?
Oh, boy. I think I'm going to do it.
You do?
Yeah.
And then you just hold hands and you ride off into the Bitcoin sunset together.
Today in the virtual studio, we have got number 96, Faith. Whoa, number 96. We are right up against my wife, number 99, Kristen. So number 96, Faith, is going to help me train in my expected environment, correct?
Let's go, Faith.
Yes.
I'm gonna start you off with a couple of rapid fire questions, okay? And I want you to answer them to the best of your ability. We've already given everyone your name. It's Faith. Faith, how old are you?
I am 34.
Where do you live?
I live in Middletown, New Jersey, but I'm a born and bred New Yorker.
What do you do for a living?
My husband and I own a masonry business, a stone masonry business in Monmouth County, New Jersey. And I also run and operate my own operations consultancy business.
Squadoosh. Do you have kids?
Yes, I have a 3 and 4-year-old, 2 little girls.
And what do you like to do when your husband's not asking you for junk, your kids aren't asking you for junk? It's time to spend some time, with yourself or with your friends or doing a hobby. You're like, what's your pastime?
My pastime, great. I love paddleboarding. Pickleball. I'm a nature girly, right? If there's any chance for me to be by myself in the wilderness, I'm in. Obviously, I love great friends. When I'm out with my friends, I have a drink, the beach. But if I am in nature, my soul is happy.
Okay. And what would it mean for you and your family if over the next hour with me and with number 0, Chris over here, we managed to introduce you to a futuristic technology that will change your life, solve your money problems, and create generational wealth for you, your kids, your grandkids? What would that kind of moment mean for you all moving forward?
It would absolutely be life-changing. I find my situation is even more so unique because I married somebody from another country. The life that we are building for ourselves, my dream life is in a world that we are traveling between Australia and the US minimum once a year, right? Which costs money when you're a family. We just bought flights. They were $7,000 for our whole family. So to have the freedom to be able to live a life where that isn't an issue or that isn't a massive sacrifice of something else in our life, life-changing. Life-changing. That alone, for not saying forget generational wealth, right? But that to me is priority one.
As you've kind of evolved you and your husband into your life together and both of your professional careers separate and together. Has your earning potential and what you actually earn gone up over time?
So I'll say this. In Australia, when we were living in Australia, yes, right? We only moved back to the US 2 years ago. So we almost as if we started our life from ground zero in America, right? So in Australia, we were, right? From a career perspective, from a clearing debt, saving for visas, that perspective, like we were constantly moving up and we were doing well, right? As we transition to the US, we are I'm sure anyone listening, like transitioning to any new country is, can take 3 to 5 years alone. So we're in the very foundational parts of that growing, I would say right now. So that's hard to answer of like what's happening here. I would say no, because we're still in the foundational part of like, what is our plan to even start that growth?
Okay.
And what happened to the relative purchasing power of your family when you saved up in Australian currency and then had to come to the United States, where I'm assuming the dollar, what was that like?
Yeah, so we had a transition plan for about 2 years. So like fact, my husband and I are phenomenal with money, right? Like just normal money. We're not people who are out there buying like Tiffany's and big toys. Like you give us the gold, we'll do it. We cleared my husband's like $36,000 of debt in 2 years, saved like over $20,000 to pay for visas and this and that. We saved up 100,000 Australian to transition us to the US.
Wow.
Right? Like we understood in 2 years. So when we have that kind of, like we know what we're doing. Now, when we were even saving up, right, for transitioning to the US, I was already thinking about that currency exchange, that sort of thing. Now, we had a bit of a wrench thrown in. Like our original plan didn't include a second surprise baby, that was going to be born 16 months after my first. There were a lot of unknowns that happened when we moved to the US, not like shocker of the century, but just there's emotional spending with money as well, right? Money is very, very vulnerable. And the cost of living in the economy had absolutely gone up in our original plan to transition, right? We were meant to, when we had started that plan of like, we're going to start this money to transition to the US, COVID hadn't happened, all these things hadn't happened. So it was like almost this like 4 year delay where the economy dramatically changed. And I remember we moved back in June of 2023, towards the end of that summer being like, holy crap, we have definitely, flown through money quicker than I thought, but also like, wow, the US is way more expensive than when it was when we got married 4 years ago. It was way more expensive. And so we were definitely in that kind of, mindset as well.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, take a moment to recognize that you two have achieved something Herculean in the sense that you were working and earning for. I mean, is it the Australian dollar? What's the name of the currency here? Is it the Australian dollar? The Aussie dollar. So you all are working and earning in Aussie dollars, and you're saving an incredible amount. I mean, just the back of the napkin math there was like 170 grand in Aussie dollars to pay off debt, save up for visas, and create a kind of a nest egg for the transition. And the entire time you're saving in Aussie dollars, you're having to convert that into your head into US dollars, which means there's an automatic hit to that number. And that lower number that you get in US dollars is now not even going to buy you as much in the United States as it could have when you left originally, because the price of everything in the United States is going up. And I'm sure the same is true in Australia, but you're saving in a form of money that is going to get you less and less the longer it takes you to save up the amount of money you need to buy the thing in the first place.
That's like trying to paddle upstream a boat that's facing the wrong direction. I mean, literally.
Or a paddleboard.
Or a paddleboard.
She's on the paddle.
Yeah. Yeah. So well done. I mean, seriously.
So that is incredible.
Yes.
And what Chris and I want to offer you today, Faith, is the option to save in a different kind of money. To save in a form of money that buys you more and more and more the longer you take to hit the number that you're trying to hit. Instead of saving 170,000 in Aussie dollars and having that turn into, I don't know, 120,000 US, and have that 120,000 US buy you today only $80,000 worth of stuff because it's gotten expensive over time, you could save up you could save up 170K Aussie dollar, we'll just say. And as you're saving it up, it turns into 210 Aussie, 240 Aussie, 340 Aussie. Or here in the US, now that you're in New Jersey, you put aside $5,000 this month, $5,000 next, and over the course of a year, you set aside 60,000, but the 60,000 is now 80, it's now 90, it's now 100. How would you feel if simply switching from saving in dollars to saving in a different type of money meant that your savings grew over time, even as you were adding to it? How would you feel?
Oh, like you would, I would absolutely feel amazing. But I will say, and I think I will be a very good guest for this because I'm sure there's I would say a majority of people that are, have heard about Bitcoin or whatever, right? Like I am a very risk adverse person. So like if I can't understand something as if you're talking to me like a toddler, like I'm not in. And I have 1 million questions before I make any kind of investment like that, but I have to understand. So in theory, that sounds freaking awesome. But now I need the stats, the information to back it up, right? Like I'm like the number one case study for like, explain this to me in these terms. And like, and where's the platform to ask every possible question that somebody like me may ask, because we're hearing about this, we're hearing about it regularly, but actually nobody understands it.
Okay. What I'm hearing here is that if what we're telling you is true, you would love that.
100%.
But that triggers fear of risk. And okay. So let's focus on de-risking Bitcoin for you by answering the questions that you have and explaining to you like you're 5, right? Because that's actually 5 years older than you can explain something to me. Because I'm like, you got to explain to me like I'm 0, homie.
Yeah.
So the first thing I want to do before we get into Bitcoin itself is to point out that we just established the risk that you're facing right now. What is it?
I don't know. What is it?
You have a risk in your life right now, which is that you've chosen the wrong form of savings. One thing that you know for sure is that saving for the future in dollars, whether they're US or Aussie, means that you face the risk of being able to buy less than you expected by the time you're ready to spend it.
It's not even a risk, it's a certainty.
It's a certainty.
Published, we are debasing the US dollar, at least. I don't know about the Aussie dollar.
I guarantee.
By 2% a year if it's on target. It's worth 2% less every year as long as things go the way that the Fed wants them to go.
Yeah.
But in reality, it's worth a whole lot less than that. But they're targeting at least 2%.
Yes.
It's going to buy you 2%, have 2% less purchasing power every year. It's called inflation.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah. Yep. So it's not even a risk. That's just legitimately what's happening.
It's a fact. Yeah.
So we want to explore whether there's a better form of savings out there for you that is less risky, because that certain weakening of your purchasing power over time, it's not cool. So where does your mind go to first about Bitcoin now that we've kind of gotten where we've gotten?
My first initial thought, and again, I have had these conversations with many of friends, both like who use Bitcoin, don't use it. It's like, I don't understand what Bitcoin is. Like, it sounds like it's the cloud. To me, if I can't pull my money tangibly, it like doesn't exist. I don't understand where it's sitting, right? It's not in a Chase bank. Like, what is it? Where is it? Because it feels like the cloud.
Okay. So if you can't hold on to your money, then how can it be real?
Correct. And if I can't, oh, here's a better explanation. If I can't draw from it, so like, okay, I put 30 grand in Bitcoin. Oh my God, in 2 years it's at 200,000. Amazing. I'm pulling it. We're buying a boat. If I can't do that easily, or if I have to get a massive penalty for that, to me, for money just to like sit, it's like I'm a goal person. I'm a
Mhm.
goal person. So even if I'm saving in like a high interest savings account, being able like when we were like saving for the deposit for our house and all that kind of stuff, that was in higher great, and then I pulled it. I hit my goal. I pulled it. So can I do that in Bitcoin? What's the risk of leaving or taking? Right? Those are the kinds of things when I think like, oh, I want to do that. Or maybe is Bitcoin, it's not for the savings of things you're going to pull. It's for the savings that are going to sit. Do you know what I mean?
Okay. Okay. So we have at least three things there. All right. Number one is Bitcoin real. Number two, can I go freely to and from it as I choose, right?
Mm-hmm.
And number three, shoot, I've already lost it. There was a third thing there. Penalties, maybe. I don't know.
She asked about penalties.
Yeah. So I guess the two that I can hang on to in my head is Bitcoin real. Can I use it? The third one is it for short-term savings or long-term savings? Okay. So let's try to tackle those, Faith. Let me ask you a question. If the second piece here of can I put US dollars into Bitcoin and then when I'm ready pull US dollars out of Bitcoin, if you are able to do that, would that make Bitcoin real? Okay. So we don't necessarily need to treat the fact that it's a digital currency that you won't be able to hold in your hand like an actual cash bill. If you can put US dollars in and freely pull US dollars out when you're ready, that would make it a real thing, correct?
Yes, but can I ask a question to that?
Sure.
Of like, who created this digital currency? Who validated it that like this digital currency is valid?
Okay.
Like who decided? Oh, it's like who decided? Okay, I'm gonna make Bitcoin and it's gonna hold value.
Mm-hmm.
Like the U.S. dollar has value. There's years and years of history in that. Like, could I just create a digital currency and all of a sudden it has value? Like, where is it validated as real? Like, where the hell did it come from?
The creator and who validates it are two different answers. The creator is a person or a group of people. Their pseudonym is Satoshi Nakamoto. That's the creator of Bitcoin. Who validates it and prices it? The marketplace does. What am I willing to buy Bitcoin for? What is someone else willing to pay for Bitcoin? That's how we come up with the exchange rate for Bitcoin.
Well, let's also take a moment to ask Faith, who created the US dollar?
I could not even tell you that.
Yeah. Which person, right? Who created the Australian dollar?
Great question.
I don't know.
But the money works.
Yeah.
So, and maybe that's because it's tangible, right? Like it's physical. And that's the differentiation. In the digital space, everything digital feels more risk. Things crash, the cloud, like no one knows where the Mac cloud is, right? Like what is it? I think that's where the biggest hesitation comes from. But to answer your original question, yes, if I can pull and take, it definitely feels realer. But I just want to know, like, where is it?
Yeah. Okay. So let's do this real quick. Let's focus first on the core blocker here, which is, hey, if I assume all these things about Bitcoin are true, it's the world's greatest savings technology. It will help me and my family travel freely between the United States and Australia as we like. And I put my money into it. I just need to make sure I can get my money out of it when I'm ready. And if I can put my money into it and get my money out of it, then clearly it's something. I mean, it ain't a fugazi at that point. It's something that I put my money into and I can get my money back out of it. So let's focus on that for a moment. The answer to your question or to your hesitation or fear is that you absolutely 100 million billion % can put your US dollars into Bitcoin. And when you're ready, you can get your US dollars out of Bitcoin. And here's how. When you take your US dollars to the airport and you fly 570 million billion hours to Australia, because I know that's a long flight.
So long.
And you land in the airport, okay, is there a moment where you take your US dollars to that little kiosk and you exchange them for Aussie dollars?
No, only because I do it through Wise because I have an Australian bank account.
Okay. And honestly, when I travel abroad, I just continue to pay with my credit card and it's fine.
Yes.
But
Correct.
let's imagine it's like, it's 1999 and we're all collecting Beanie Babies and stuff. And you go, and let's say you went then absolutely you would go to that kiosk and you would exchange the cash for the cash that works where you are, right?
Yes.
Bitcoin works the exact same way. And that's why the marketplaces online where you, convert your US dollars to Bitcoin and back are called exchanges. They're not called it's not like Wall Street. It's not like a brokerage or a trading firm
Or a fund
or anything like that. It's an exchange because at the heart of Bitcoin is the fact that it is money, just like the US dollar is money, just like gold is money, just like glass beads and wampum shells were money at earlier points in human history. So all you're doing is saying, look, now I've flown from the United States to Bitcoin land, and Bitcoin land is the land of the future. And it is a digital currency and it works everywhere all the time, no matter what. And I'm just trying to convert my US dollars into Bitcoin. And they'll say, sure, thanks for sending us your money. Here's your Bitcoin. And later on you say, okay, I'm ready to fly to Australia. I need $7,000. I'm simply going to go back to the same exchange. And I'm going to say, here's enough Bitcoin to make $7,000. And they'll go, great. We just deposited the money in your bank account. Have fun. How does that make you feel?
Well, let me ask you, I have two follow-up questions. One, is there a penalty for withdrawing?
You pay capital gains just like you would on any kind of investment.
Yes. So this is not a 401k. It's not a retirement account. There's no penalty for early withdrawal. There's simply the government saying, hey, it's not fair that you're making money and I'm not. Give me some.
Yeah. Second follow-up question in that is, what is the, right? So if Bitcoin is what you say it is, right? One, like why isn't everybody's money in it? Like, and if it's growing at a certain rate, why are people still putting money in stock and bonds and all of that, right? So like, what is the rate of growth for Bitcoin? Like if I'm putting my $7,000 in there, what is that rate of growth versus my high interest earning savings account? Or, or are there different types of Bitcoin?
Yeah. Okay. So great conversation. And I want all the Satillionaires watching Faith work through this right now. If you've had these questions before, or if you have someone in your life who has these questions, send them that video. If you've had these questions, smash the subscribe if you've ever asked these questions, okay, to join in on your chance to win 10 million sats. And let's get all the way to the end of the show to see if Faith decides sats or cash. So let's break something down real quick. I heard you ask, well, how is Bitcoin performing compared to my high interest savings account? Cool. What interest rate is your bank paying you on your not a normal savings account, let me get some of that high interest juice. How much?
Okay. I don't know off the top of my head. I think it's around like 4 or 5%.
4 or 5%. Cool. All right. So if you put in $100, then in 1 year, you should have $104 or $105. All right. correct? Because they would pay you 4 to 5% interest on that $100.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The annual performance of Bitcoin, if you average it out over the past 16 years, which is how long Bitcoin has been around, is not 4%. The average annual increase in its value is not 5%. It's 200%. So if you put $100 into Bitcoin, then at the end of a year, you wouldn't have $104 or $105 in savings. You would have $300. Now, over the past, and again, that's averaged out over 16 years for all the haters who are about to hit the comments, and Bitcoin has had bigger years in the past, but just over the past 12 months, Faith, Bitcoin has increased in value by 100%. So let's imagine that this year you were planning a trip to Australia and you need $7,000 for your flights. Well, if at this time last year you decided to set aside $5,000 worth of Bitcoin, you would take your $5,000, you would go to the exchange, one of them is called Bitcoin Well, and you would say, hey, I'd like to buy $5,000 worth of Bitcoin. And you would send them the $5,000 and they would send you your Bitcoin, right? Now, one Bitcoin is 120 grand. So you would only be getting a piece of a Bitcoin. Like we said at the beginning of the show, there are 100 million sats in every Bitcoin, the same way there are 100 pennies in every dollar. So you would get your Satoshis. And at this point, the Bitcoin would exchange back out for $10,000. Now, all you did was set aside $5,000, okay? And your bank account's like, cool, $5,000. Here's $200. We really appreciate you banking with us. You now have $5,200. But with Bitcoin would say, well, I've gone up 100%. So now the Bitcoin that you have is worth $10,000. And you say, cool. You go back to Bitcoin Well, you say, hey, I want to sell you this Bitcoin. And they say, no problem. They send you $10,000. Now, the United States government says, hey, you just made an investment in an asset and it went up. So we need you to pay capital gains taxes because it's not fair that you're making money and we aren't. So they would look at the $5,000 increase that you achieved with Bitcoin, and they would say, I need 25% of that for the capital gains tax. 25% is $1,250, and you would end up with something like $8,750. You would spend $7,000 on your flight. You would have $1,750 to do whatever you want with. But that's kind of how it works. You do have to kind of go through this clunky experience of paying capital gains taxes on your savings. But the fact of the matter is you don't care because it's doubled in value in a year and your savings account hasn't really gone anywhere. And by the way, the $5,200 that you would have isn't going to buy you as much airplane flight as it would have when you set it aside last year because the price of flights has gone up. So it's just two different ways to save money. You know, do I want to save in a form of money that's buying me less over time? Or do I want to learn a little bit more about a form of money that gains in purchasing power over time and, you know, jump through the government's hoops in exchange for something that's just strictly better?
Let me ask you one more question. Can you tell me about an experience that somebody has had right from a beginner, like someone who's had a bad experience with Bitcoin, right? I don't believe any, financial institution is flawless. It's just impossible, right? Like it's impossible. Also, the way people manage money is different, right?
Mhm.
But is there a situation where Bitcoin has not been beneficial for somebody who's invested it, and what is the reason in that, right? Like it can't be, because if it was, every single person in the world would be using it.
Okay, so let's pause for a minute because we just handled the fact that if you wanted, you could exchange your money for Bitcoin. You could exchange a bad form of money for a good form of money. And when you're ready to spend that bad form of money on something you need to buy now, you can come back out of the good form of money, pay your capital gains tax, and then you've got that bad form of money and you can go out and spend it. So we treated the fact that one of the big blockers for you was, hey, can I get into and out of Bitcoin freely? And the answer is yes. So let's stop for a minute. How do you feel about that? Does that alleviate some of your fears and help get you?
Good.
All right. So then is your next fear either, hey, there's no way it can be this good or everyone would be using it, or is a more important fear, where is this dang thing? Which of those two do you want to treat next?
Well, before we do that, really quick too, I think you asked a question very directly, which was, where's this gone wrong in the past?
Yeah.
And I can give you a really simple, straightforward answer to that. Bitcoin goes wrong when you don't custody your own Bitcoin. So if you leave your Bitcoin on an exchange like FTX or Mt. Gox or some exchange that you can kind of go back in history and look at, and then that exchange goes bankrupt or it's uncovered as a Ponzi scheme, that's where people have lost Bitcoin. Bitcoin itself has not failed anyone. It's when people trust a third party to store their Bitcoin for them, that's where problems have occurred in the past.
Versus them going in and managing it themselves. Is that what you mean?
Yeah. So think about it like this. Bitcoin has been chugging away for 16 years without fail. It is online and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. You can exchange it for every major currency on Earth, which, by the way, is a bonus to you because your savings technology can be exchanged freely for US dollars when you're in the United States and freely for Aussie dollars when you're in Australia. Wow. I like to go between two places on Earth with two different forms of money. And you know what? Here's a better form of money that works in both places. Bitcoin proves itself every 10 minutes. Every single time you see this clock light up behind Chris over here and it flashes green, that means that Bitcoin has proven itself all over again to the entire world. So Bitcoin never fails. But trusting other people with your Bitcoin does fail, and it has failed. And think about it like this. Let's imagine you went to what's a good grocery store up there in New Jersey there, Chris?
Stop and Shop, ShopRite.
So let's
Whole Foods.
Whole Foods,
yeah.
Okay. Let's imagine you hit the Stop and Shop, okay, and you want some of Chris's Ithaca hummus,
which is available, yeah.
And you go to the Stop and Shop. You pull the Ithaca hummus off the shelf, you get in line, you pay for the Ithaca hummus, and then once you have bought this tub of hummus, you say, I want the grocery store to take care of this for me until I need it. And you walk back to the shelf where you got it, and you put it back on the shelf, and you leave the grocery store.
And then they make a little note that's like, okay, well, when Faith comes back, we'll make sure that we've got a note that says this is hers and we'll give it to her when she asks for it.
Right. And then the grocery store goes bankrupt or there's a fire or the owner grabs your Ithaca hummus and leaves. It doesn't make any sense. If you're going to go to the grocery store and you're going to pay for Ithaca hummus, take the dang tub home and put it in your fridge. And then you can control your hummus. You can secure your hummus and you can go get a dip of it whenever you want without having to leave your house. That's what we mean when we talk about Bitcoin itself never failing. It's simply trusting other parties or organizations or online platforms to take care of your Bitcoin for you.
Okay.
Now, there's another scenario, Faith, that I think you might be trying to touch on, which is, well, tell me the story about the guy who bought Bitcoin up here and then it crashed down here and he was screwed.
Yeah, I mean, Chris answered that. I mean, if it's saying that, I mean, the other part of me is like, well, not everybody wants to manage it themselves, right? So like, what's the solution for those people, right? It's the same thing of like why people go to financial advisor, why they have a financial advisor have, having their money and stuff. So it's like, what is the solution for those people if I'm not educated enough or confident enough to manage it myself, but I'm like, oh, I don't want to give it to a third party because they could go bankrupt, right? Like, are there financial advisors of Bitcoin?
No, because it's not, there's nothing to manage. I mean, you just buy it and it sits there. And it's super easy to buy and it's really easy to sell. When we started Sat Chats, I took a couple $100,000 and invested it in the business. The business turned around and bought Bitcoin with it. We paid $80,000 was our cost basis per Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
So I bought enough Bitcoin. I bought about $200,000 worth of Bitcoin at $80,000 a coin. And you don't have to buy a whole coin. You can buy pieces of a coin. So what would that be? 2 and 2.4 coins, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now we're cycling through our cash and we need to pay our bills. So the other day I went on and I said, oh, wow, I bought it at 80,000. Now it's 118,000. So let me sell enough sats to get $20,000 to cover our expenses this month. So that's basically like a 30% discount.
Yeah, I mean, it was basically like we paid $14,000 to cover $20,000 worth of expenses because we stored our value in Bitcoin until we were ready to pull it back out. So we can tell you for a fact that you can exchange your dollars for Bitcoin, and then you can exchange your Bitcoin back out for dollars.
We do it. That's how we run the company. We save in money that goes up in value, and we spend in money that goes down in value.
Yeah. Now, you do need to make sure that you're approaching Bitcoin from a mature perspective, which is, hey, I'll take care of it myself. And by the way, if you can download a social media app and like get yourself a username and password for it, if you can download a banking app and get yourself a username and password for it, you can take care of your own Bitcoin. My 72-year-old dad was able to follow my instructions to get himself what is effectively an account and a password for Bitcoin. You know what I mean? And now he's loving it. And he's sending Bitcoin to my son when my son does chores around the house for him. He pays him in Bitcoin. So, but it's important to make sure that you're saving with the idea that you're going to be doing this over a long period of time. Someone who's like, hey, someone who attempts to trade Bitcoin and take advantage of the ups and downs is going to get burned like anyone trying to trade anything, whether they're trading Apple stock or options or no, just set aside your savings into Bitcoin. And you don't even have to start big, Faith. You could set aside $50 a month into Bitcoin.
That was my question. Where is a beginner starting? Where is a beginner who is scared, right? So like, I am the avatar of Bitcoin of like, okay, honestly, this conversation has been so insightful, so helpful, but like, there's still a part of me that's like, I gotta be safe to test the waters.
Yeah.
So like, I know my number of like, okay, so what is there hey, you're right. Like, wait, you can literally start with $50 and just watch and just what would you recommend for that? Because there are going to be skeptics regardless. And I would be lying if I would say like, oh yeah, there's still a part of me because it's also a value around money. Everyone's value and like generational trauma around money. That's where the fear of like, where the hell is this thing coming, right? So like, that's an emotional factor in this conversation where I'm saying of like, I believe it. And I'm like, okay, but I need to have a safe amount where I'm like, the way that I invest money, the way that I loan money to people, and it's one of the greatest money lessons my dad ever taught me was you never lend or money to anybody or anything if you expect it in return. So if I lend you $5,000 and you want to give it back, great, but I'm not going to lend it to you with the expectation to receive it back, right? So I'm like, okay, I could put in $200 into Bitcoin and like that's no problem. I'm happy to lose $200 if I lost it, right? Like that's my mindset. So what's that safety number that people can start with?
It's different for everybody.
But our recommendation for our beginners is to try to put together $50 a month.
That's so easy. I could totally do that.
It's $600 a year. I mean, it's $50 to take your Bogan Bay and your 2 kids to Chick-fil-A for one dang meal. 4 chicken sandwiches and 4 fries and 4 drinks. It's like $50.
It's a carton of beer.
It's a carton of beer. It's 1 carton, ain't even 2. So in today's America, $50 doesn't go that far. So if you can find that in your budget and buy Bitcoin once a month, then over a period of 12 months, over a period of 24 months, 48 months, you'll realize, oh my goodness, the $50 that I'm setting aside for Bitcoin that does not go far at all in my daily life is going so far in Bitcoin, it's not even making sense. I need to learn more about Bitcoin. I need to watch more episodes of Sat Chats. I need to talk to my husband about this. I need to see if we want to step it up to $100 a month or even $50 a week, because this sucker works. And we're moving freely from the US and Australia. We can use it in those places. And this is a form of savings that goes up over time instead of a form of savings that goes down over time. So let me stop there and ask you if you think right now you could do $50 a month and just continue to learn, because that's such a small commitment that it's not so scary.
100%. I mean, I love you guys. I love that you're conservative. That is a very conservative approach to me. Like $50 a month is a very easy commitment.
Okay.
That to me is conservative, and I am always gonna be a risk conservative person. Always. So yeah, I'd be like, okay, great. After this call, and I'm in meetings all day, I'm gonna literally sign up and I'm gonna put $50 in. And then I'm gonna check in with you like every 3 months.
Oh boy. That is hilarious that she would ask that, because our show actually asks each of our guests if they would be willing to come back on in 9 months. So we do 9 months, then we do 18, then we do 27, right? And it's so that you can give us an update on your Bitcoin baby. So it sounds like you would be willing to do that, correct?
Absolutely.
So let's do this. Let's recap the conversation with Faith. Then we're going to try a little bit of this hummus. and then we're going to give you a choice, and we'll see which one you make.
You don't even have to take the Bitcoin. It's freely up to you, and you'll see what we mean here in just a minute.
So this conversation with Faith has been fantastic, if you ask me.
Really good.
We got started by learning a little bit more about who Faith is, how old she is, what she does, her family, and what it would mean if she were able to adopt a superior form of savings that works the whole wide world around, whether you're out back of your house in New Jersey or literally in the outback. And we talked about the fact that Bitcoin could mean something big for her and her family. But one of the biggest concerns she had was, well, if I put my money into it, can I get my money out of it? And the answer is resoundingly yes. And once you see how the money you put in grows and becomes more money by the time you pull it out, you start to realize that this might be the cure for inflation. This might be the cure for the fact that everything is getting more expensive all the time, no matter what. All you have to do is learn a little bit more and start small. Just start small. And when you come back on in 9 months, we can start to tackle things like, well, where is Bitcoin? Is it in the cloud? Spoiler alert, it's not. But we will bring you back on in 9 to tackle even more aspects of Bitcoin, because Bitcoin's so big, Faith. It's so big that you couldn't fit it all into a single chat about sats, no matter how hard you tried. So I hope that all the Satillionaires out there got a lot out of today's episode with Faith. I know I did. Let's turn it over to Chris here.
All right, Faith. Well, we have talked about Ithaca Hummus here a couple times on the show. They are our founding sponsor. I don't know if you've had our product before, seen it in grocery stores, if you're a hummus fan or not.
Chris, I was stalking your website while I was on this podcast, and it's just up the street. I'm going to go support you. It's at my Whole Foods up the block. Don't you worry. I'll go up there after today.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So we got the French onion here, which, by the way, there's another brand out there. Okay. There was never a French onion flavor in the category until we came out with it. Every other brand was like, ooh, caramelized onion, or like sweet onion, or whatever. And we were like, no, we're gonna call this French onion.
We're going
soup.
hard.
We're going like the sour cream dip. We came out with it. It's been a wild success, wildly successful.
Yeah.
And then we see yesterday in the group chat for the company, this other brand, Cedars, came out with a French onion hummus. It's like, come on, guys. Good luck with it. I mean, I hope it goes well, but yikes. Anywho, let's taste the best, the original, the number one French onion hummus in the category right here. It's it.
Cheers.
Number one. Wow. God. Every time. Holy cow.
It's so yummy.
No soup for you.
It's like, it's cold, it's fresh. It's got that umami caramelized onion flavor.
Yeah. Shallot, onion.
As you know, and I get together with the boys every so often to play my collectible card game and my tabletop RPG.
Yeah.
Okay. And as soon as I tasted this, our French onion dip was gone off of like the medley table. Gone. Because we used to do the ruffled chip into the French onion dip. That's out. Now we are on this hummus right here, dude.
So good. It tastes better. And the macros on this versus that.
It's healthier.
It's way healthier.
I can eat a tub of this and experience self-esteem. I can't eat a tub of the French onion dip and experience self-esteem.
Yeah,
I feel like a fatty.
Yeah.
I'm on the recipe. I'm on the recipes page. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna make this loaded everything bagel. Look at this. Oh, 4 teaspoons of Ithaca fresh onion hummus. I gotta go get it. Red salmon caviar. All right, I'm gonna get it today. I gotta get it today.
Oh yeah.
Make it happen. And if you put your address in the form fill out, we'll mail you a thank you note with some coupons in it to get free tubs of Ithaca hummus. The only thing we ask, Faith, is that once you've gotten those free tubs of hummus, go put them in your own fridge.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Take custody of your hummus and take custody of your Bitcoin. So let's make you that offer now.
All right, Faith, we really appreciate you being here with us today. And we believe in exchanging value for value here on Sat Chats. You spent your time with us. You worked through some of your concerns about Bitcoin with us. And I think it was an excellent time well spent. So we are now going to give you your choice as a small token of our appreciation between $50, which will mail you, Venmo you somehow. It's probably not going to be the whole 50 once it gets to you because there's fees associated with all that.
And it won't buy $50 worth of stuff by the time it gets you because it's going down every second. But anyway, no bias here. No, no bias.
Or $50 in Bitcoin, which if we take a look at the Clark Moody Bitcoin dashboard, we see that the exchange rate for one Bitcoin right now is $118,800, which translates to 842 Satoshis per dollar. So I'm going to take that 842 and multiply it by 50. $50 in Bitcoin is 42,100 Satoshis, or 50 deadbeat dollars. Cash is trash.
I want that $50 in Bitcoin.
Yes, let's go. All right. So you will get an email from us tomorrow with very clear instructions that I have written myself on how to get those 42,100 Satoshis from us through the Bitcoin network to you, to your smartphone, where you can control them and it'll never do you dirty. Okay.
Never.
Now, thank you for stacking the Satoshis with us here today, Faith. You bring our show's scoreboard to 88 who have chosen to stack the sats with us, along with 8 who need a little bit more time. And when they come on in 9 months, we'll keep working. You know what I mean? So we're very happy about that. Faith, is there any old where that you want our satillionaires in the audience to go to interact with you or your masonry company if they're in the New Jersey area?
Yeah. So you can find me on my website, www.faithemorris.com. And you can find me on LinkedIn and Threads. That's where I hang out. Our masonry business, if you're in New Jersey listening, is called Earth and Mortar Premium Stone Masonry in Monmouth County, New Jersey. earthandmortar.masonry, New Jersey on Instagram. So yeah, feel free to DM me. If you have any operational support you need, find me on my website. I'd love to help.
Outstanding. So, Satillionaires, you will find those links in our show notes, along with information you can use if you want to sponsor or support the show. While you are there, remember to smash the subscribe button the same way Chris Smash buys Bitcoin, because we want to exchange value for your value and give you a chance to win 10 million sats when we reach 100,000 subscribers.
Just subscribe on YouTube. You're automatically entered. That's it.
Not 42,100 Satoshis like Faith just stacked with us. 10 million. How do you feel about that number now that you've had some time to get more acquainted with Bitcoin, Faith? Do you think that you will be smashing the subscribe button on Sat Chats after we jump off?
Absolutely. And also, you know, subscribing is like free kindness marketing. Like, costs nothing for you to subscribe. So just subscribe. Listen, you don't have to tell me. I understand the engagement, the algorithm, but I always am like, literally subscribing, liking, commenting costs nothing to support people and ventures. And I do believe this is a really important conversation in 2025 in our generation, especially like the younger millennials, Gen Z. It is huge. I mean, you could do a whole segment just for like married couples, right? Like, this is an important conversation. So whether or not you believe it, it's an educational part of the internet that like needs to be recognized.
Bam. Let's go. Thank you for saying that, Faith. So you are number 96. Woo! All right, Satillionaires. Thanks so much for watching. Remember, Sat Chats is for educational purposes only and should not be construed as financial advice. Also, our guests' views are their own. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.
Thank you.